Mike, I want to talk wide receivers in the NFL. And not everybody's got a different number one, but it's such a good group that the game has changed where, the depth, the top five are incredible, top 10, top 20, top 25, playmakers everywhere in the NFL because we're so pass heavy. So for Mike D, if you could pick any wide receiver in the NFL today, who would you go with, Mike D?
Any one guy?
Any one guy.
Oh, I would go with Davante Adams.
Okay.
I just think his ability to set up a defensive back, get open, make a big play downfield, he's a little bit better than, say, a Jamar Chase or Justin Jefferson or an A.J. Brown. Just a little bit, but it's not much. Tyreek Hill would certainly cross my mind too, because you can't sort of set up how it is to go up against a guy who's that fast and that elusive out into the open field. But Davante Adams is a favorite of mine.
Okay.
Just because of his size, his physicality, his ability to make a contested catch when there are arms and hands and people around him, he does a fantastic job.
Okay, you're down there near LSU. You know all about the program. If you had to pick between these guys are so good. It's ridiculous. If you had to pick between Justin Jefferson and Jamar Chase, which one would you go with, Mike?
Woo, that's a toughie. But I just think because of the explosiveness, I would go with Jamar.
Okay.
But again, that's a tough choice between the two. You couldn't go wrong if you pick Jefferson. I think he's the best route runner in pro football today. He's not this super fast, super quick guy, but he's tremendously athletic. He knows how to set you up to get separation downfield. He catches everything around him. I've known him since probably he was in the 10th grade.
Okay.
He went to Destrehan, which is probably 15 minutes from my home.
Oh.
He didn't maybe spend as much time on his academics as he should have as a prepster, and he admits that. So he did not sign on signing day.
Really?
Did not sign on signing day. No, he signed late. It was like in April or early May. It was very late. They had LSU kept one scholarship. Coach O had told me, I'm going to keep one scholarship for Jefferson.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, well, so would I. That wasn't a tough choice. But they were unsure if he could academically qualify.
Okay.
Because of the requirements in the SEC. But he got in. But there were probably about 15 schools that were ready to pounce on him had he not been able to get in at LSU.
Okay. What kind of kid is he, Mike?
Jefferson?
Yes.
Not bad. He's a good dude in life. His brother was a quarterback here at LSU.
Yes.
They went to the national championship game. Ended up losing it, but his brother was a quarterback. His brother was the 5-star guy. He was the 2-star. Okay, and I think a lot of it had to do with most people who were involved in this recruiting stuff understood it would be too close for him. But he got his academics right late, and but he was always such a great player. He played quarterback, running back, receiver. He played in the slot. Anywhere they asked him to play, he was good. And the most vivid memory for me, he held for extra points and field goals at Destrehan.
Really?
And they got a bad snap. He pulls it up, just stands up and throws a beautiful 2-point pass play downfield. Then the snap was really bad, but it goes to show how athletic he was and his ability to improvise. But he was always very confident in his skills. He knew he could play at the next level. And just to think on that team, he goes to LSU. Jamar was not the number 1 rated wide receiver in the state of Louisiana. Jamar was 2. Terrace Marshall was the 1.
Wow.
And so they had Terrace, Jamar, and Justin all on that same team. And it was like every day. And Coach O, he was kind enough. He would let me go if I wanted to. I asked if I could go to practice a couple of days and just watch. Bo, it's unbelievable. I mean, you're watching NFL wideouts and going up against NFL defensive backs. Wow. They had a bunch of them at that time. But it was just to watch the competition between those 3 and Randy Moss's son, Thad, was the flex tight end. And it was something to watch. And then you had Joe Burrow throwing the ball.
Incredible. I mean, it snuck up on us. It's just so weird, because the year before wasn't what LSU wanted. And then they have arguably the greatest year in the history of college football. And it's just so, I don't know, it's just hard to.
They won 6 games, though.
Yeah.
You know, I think that was the thing. And Joe wasn't Joe back that year. He was good the next year.
He's so good.
And we coming to it because we're finishing up here at the Louisiana Line Camp today. Pete Jenkins, Kevin Mawai. We have 10 NFL coaches coaching here, along with almost 50 prep coaches. But end of the week is Manning. We get one day off, and then Manning starts Thursday. And Joe walks into the Colonel Club, and he sees me, and we talk, and I was like, hey, what's happening? And he was like, well, Mr. Mike, I'm going to tell you, we're gonna average over 40 points a game this year. And I took a look at him, and I'm like, dude, you talking about the basketball team or the football team? And he gave me that, that Burrow smirk, and the first time I ever heard him say it publicly. He sat down and he took interviews, and the first thing came out of his mouth, we're going to average over 40 points a game.
Wow.
He was right. I mean, he was immensely confident. So this is the Sunday. So it goes through the days, and man, they got a host of people here. I mean, some really good quarterbacks. And I'm talking to his dad, Jimmy Burrow, on the Sunday, and they just broke camp. And so Joe walks up and asks him, how was the camp? And he said, great. But he said, I was the best dude in here. Yeah, I mean, matter of factly, I was the best guy out here. And okay, good enough. But that was Joe being Joe. Nothing was gonna phase him. They had Justin Herbert that was there, Tua Tagovailoa was there, but it was just Joe. He wasn't shy about telling you that he was that good. And
Man.
he went through some drills with receivers he had never thrown to, and he threw probably 20 passes, and 2 of them he misfired. They were both a little high, and he was so upset with himself. And and so I told him, "What? These are receivers from all over the country. Why are you so upset?" He said, "I missed it. I missed them." The 18 that he hit him dead on, he didn't speak about. It was the 2 that he missed. Goes to show you why he is who he is.
Wow, Mike Detillier.
And Bo, I'm telling you, he wasn't happy about that. He wasn't happy about the 2 misses, and one of them was a receiver from, I think, Florida State, and the other one was a receiver from Nichols. And I'm not sure it wasn't the receiver's fault, but he didn't like it that he had missed. And he didn't blame the receiver. He blamed himself. It's unbelievable to hear him and watch him. And you knew then, hey, this was a different Joe Burrow than the year before, where he was a good player. Now he had turned it up into something else.
Mike Detillier, WWL Radio TV New Orleans. He joins us on the Farm Bureau Insurance guest line. We were talking Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson, and also Devontae Adams. And we're all fortunate because there's so many good wide receivers in the league today. Mike, we talked Chase, Jefferson, Adams. Everybody knows about Tyreek Hill and Diggs. A.J. Brown is unbelievable. So that's a lot right there. And there's some I didn't hit. I'm looking at 3 different lists right now. Would you have CeeDee Lamb in your top 10, or would he be just outside of your top 10, Mike D?
Yeah, I think he would be in the top 10.
Okay.
He might be 9 or 10, but he would be there. CD, he is such a smooth guy out on the field, and he finds that open crease. He's got some acceleration into and out of a cut and a break, and it's something as you scout, you watch how quickly they can get into and out of a cut and a break. A lot of times, guys who are really fast, they almost have to come to a stop to get into and out of a cut and a break, if that makes any sense. But you got guys who are so smooth, and it was funny. We had Travis Crittenden here. Travis worked with the Chiefs for 8 years, got 2 Super Bowl rings. They won 1, lost 1. Then he left the Chiefs to go coach Olympic athletes at the Turks and Caicos Islands.
Oh.
That's a real tough job. But whatever. So we talking yesterday, and he was telling me about Tyreek Hill. And about, it's amazing because he sort of repeated what I had said about sometimes really fast guys. It's difficult for them to cut and come out of a break smoothly. And he was like, Tyreek does it like no one else. And one of the guys he mentioned that he had worked with sort of privately, kind of, like most of these strength and conditioning coaches do, because he's not technically in the NFL today. is CeeDee Lamb, and how that was what he worked with CeeDee with, of learning how to position his feet to come out a little bit quicker, a little bit faster out of the cut and the break. And so he really praised CD for those type skills.
Mm. All right, so you got CD. This one has CD at 9, so I see where you're going in the back end. It's just so many great players. Now, with A.J. Brown, again, we talked. This one has Jefferson number 1 on NFL.com, but we talked Chase, Jefferson. You like Devontae by a smidge over some of the other guys. You just mentioned Tyreek, Diggs, so on. Would A.J. Brown be in your top 5,
no
10?
question about
Okay.
that. He would be in the middle of that, probably either 5 or 6.
Okay.
But thing with AJ, he's built like a running back.
He is.
If you ever stand up next to him, he's built just like a running back. And I'll post it in leading up to the Manning camp. But we took a picture one day at Deuce, McAllister and I, we doing the remote there for WWL. And all of a sudden, AJ and DK Metcalf walk up. And so I took the picture of the three of them together. And I teased Deuce. AJ looked more like the running back than he did at this stage. And DK looked like a defensive end. I mean, they put on a show. It was to watch him catch the ball. And it wasn't like maybe the year before where Odell Beckham Jr. and Jarvis Landry come here. They did not catch a ball with 2 hands. Everything was with 1 hand. And they were sort of vying with one another, sort of a friendly deal between the two. And then 2 years later, we get A.J. Brown, DK Metcalf. And those guys were unbelievable. To see those high school kids, watch them. Because out of the 1,200 kids here, there are probably 150, 170 who are wide receivers or the flex tight ends. That's something that has sort of changed with Manning, that we're starting to get that a little bit more, and you can see it. And it was to watch those kids work with DK and AJ. And their mouths just sort of dropped. Okay, yeah, I'm pretty good, but, man, those guys out of this world. But AJ is a running back build, thickly built guy who can break loose from a tackle. He's very physical to get off of press coverage. He has become a much better route runner. He's extended that route running tree, but he is so smooth on these cuts and breaks downfield.
Yeah.
And again, it's his improvement as a route runner that you can see. It just jumps out at you at that particular time. Who was here also at that time? He was, I think, a sophomore or junior, was Devontae Smith.
Oh,
All of 155 pounds of him.
so
Dude,
good.
He hit that scale. And my thing is, I remember when I weighed that too, but man, to see him on that, hit that scale, and it was 155, and he was good with it. You know, it didn't matter to him. He's been sort of a smallish build guy all of his life from a frame standpoint, but how good he is, and his ability to contort his body so many different ways. To have him and AJ on that same team, oh my Lord, good luck. If you're trying to scheme up to stop him. But AJ, special player, just a special player. Very, very focused young man too, and you can tell football matters to him.
Yes,
tremendously, and it matters to him, and he is a worker. Some guys in this league, I'm not saying they don't work, but maybe don't put in quite as much work as a guy like AJ does, or what Jefferson does, or Chase, or Devontae. You talk about a worker. Man, Devontae is an unbelievable worker. You will not outwork him out on the field. And that's what makes him who he is. And and Justin and Jamar and AJ. Those guys, man, it's serious. Ain't no playing around when they get on the field. They may play around afterwards, but not when they're on there. Hey, this is my turf, my office, and that's the way it's going to be handled. But DK and AJ Brown, they put on a show, and these kids are just in awe of watching it. Because you look at DK, and you sure he's playing receiver? Because I heard a couple kids, I was close enough, it was like, y'all sure he plays receiver? Because he really did look like a defensive end. He really did. And then when he took the shirt off, everybody was,
hello.
Oh man. Yeah.
Chiseled.
Yeah, it was the real McCoy.
Mike D, enjoy lineman camp and the Manning Passing Academy. We always love the 2 or 3 shows after you come back from the Manning Passing Academy. And
I think,
tell us what's
if
happening.
My memory is good on this. I think Ole Miss will have 2 quarterbacks here.
Walker Howard and Dart?
Archie told me 2, but my first thought would have been
Spencer Sanders?
Spencer and Dart.
Oh.
Spencer, okay. Dart, and the kid from Oklahoma State, Sanders.
Spencer Sanders. Got it. Okay. All right.
That's what I kind of caught. LSU will also have 2 quarterbacks here. They'll Jaden Daniels and Garrett Nussmeier will be here. So, and we're hoping to get Caleb Williams from USC, but Caleb had another commitment, couldn't come, and let the Mannings know it. But kid from North Carolina will be here, and I'm sure he'll grab a lot of attention.
Oh yeah,
because he's going to be the star, so to speak, without Caleb here. And I think he reminds me a lot of a young Andrew Luck. He really does. That would be my comp to him. Watching Luck at Stanford and watching Drake May at North Carolina, they built alike. Their throwing motion is alike. And when I told this to Archie, he was like, "Man, Mike, I think you got something there." They sort of look the same.
Yeah, that's a talented guy. I thought he lost a hell of an offensive coordinator in Phil Longo, and Longo going to Wisconsin. So we'll and I don't know if they replaced at the level they needed to, but he is a very talented guy. And I think Longo and what he does could absolutely work the Big Ten, because that's just more of a conservative, not throw it around as much league. And I can't. Wisconsin, when for you and I, the last 25 years, when Alvarez turned that thing around, it's been ground and pound. Well, I got to get out of here, Mike D. Have a great week at the offensive line camp and Manning Passing Academy. We'll talk next week.
Thank you, Will.
Mike Detillier, WWL Radio TV New Orleans. On the Farm Bureau Insurance guest line, go to favrates.com and get those good rates. Super competitive rates. Excellent customer service. Powered by your Farm Bureau Insurance agent. Favrates.com. That's simple, right? F-A-V-E. Favrates.com. Out of Bounds, 105.9 The Zone ESPN. Ooh. What do we want to do here? Let's go. We'll wrap up the hour with this. A Rocky Patel or a Leva cigar from Havana Smoke Shop in Jackson or at the Reservoir. Back in a second.